it's a Spiritworks Cinema, where we watch all the movies. Today is another movie that we streamed, All Hallows Eve, recently released, directed by a Damien Leone. All Hallows Eve is a anthology film based of 3 stories with a wraparound. I'm guessing we're seeing more of these due to the popularity of VHS, ABCs of Death, SVHS or VHS2, and we're getting more of these types of movies. They can be really good. In this case, you had a singular director do all of them, and there's the main actress, actually, in the wraparounds, she looks like Deborah Messing. It's so freaky. Like Deborah Messing from 20 years ago, but still Deborah Messing. It was freaking me out. I kept thinking, there's no way Deborah Messing was in this movie. But that part's kind of cool. It's a very low-budget film. Don't expect, like, any big works. But there's some cool stuff going on here. The principle is, you know, it's Halloween, and she's a babysitter on Halloween. They make a couple jokes about that, which is cool. And she's watching these 2 kids who bring home some candy. In one of the kids' bags, there's a clamshell and a VHS case, you know, the old style that you got, like, from the video rental store with a VHS tape in it. Now, here's what I thought was hilarious. This is a new movie. It is a brand new movie. But they have a gigantic widescreen HD TV with a VCR connected to it. It's not a VCR DVD combo. No. There's no Blu-ray player next to it or DVD player next to it. It's just an old VCR connected to a widescreen TV. I know this isn't bitching about the movie. I just found this absolutely hilarious. And of course they pop in the videotape and it's in widescreen. Now, I don't know if you've ever tried that, but you can't have 16:9 VHS tapes. So it's a completely irrelevant complaint, but I found it absolutely hilarious. So check for that. And they have a DVD player, though, near it. Who doesn't have a DVD player? I mean, you can get Blu-ray players for like $20 now. Yeah, it's hard. It's more expensive to find a VHS player. So if you're handing out creepy videos, why would you hand out a VHS tape? Most people just throw it away. Anyway, it should have been a DVD. That would have made way more sense. So they want to check out and see what's on this videotape, and it starts off, and this is how we segue into our 3 shorts. They're each part of this videotape. On the first one, we're introduced to this evil clown guy, which admittedly looks cool. He's very creepy. I liked him. He looked like a complete psycho. Great killer clown looking guy. The visuals in the first segment, and I'm going to talk about the visuals because the rest doesn't make sense, are very cool. They're very eerie. There's some very creepy stuff. And if you watch the trailer, a lot of it came from that first segment. It shows a lot of potential as a director here. I think with a more cohesive storyline, it would have been better. The first segment, really, it's just a guy kidnapping a girl. There's some horrendous acting on the 2 of the supporting actors are really bad. But bad enough it detracted, and I could take some pretty bad acting. But again, it's very short, so it doesn't matter. There's some cool, like, satanic imagery going on, and some devil worship, which was all really cool. Some good little bits of gore in there. But again, it didn't really make any sense. And it cuts back to the people watching it. I guess, to me, it looks like they would cut to the wraparound people watching it when they didn't have a good edit point. And again, that's fine. This is a startup movie, super low budget. It's actually a fairly inventive way to get around when you don't have a good edit point. So the first one, I think, works. It's eerie, creepy, and it makes you thinking, well, where are they going with this? At this point, the babysitter, you know, sends them to bed, and she begins watching the rest of the movie. We get segment 2. Segment 2 is my whole fault with the movie. It's bad. It has no connection with the... Well, it has one minimal connection with the rest of the wraparound and parts 1 and 3. And that's only in a background painting, so what was the point? It sucked the life out of the story to me, and I think the second part is so campy. It's an alien with a girl in a house. It's silly, it's campy, the alien is lame. The middle part totally bummed me out. I was ready to almost turn it off at this point, but I figured, hey, I'd let it go. So I understand where they were going with that. They wanted to get 3 different stories, but when you have the wraparound and such a dark opening segment, a middle comedic one doesn't really work. Now, I say that, but then you think of something like Body Bags where they did that and it worked. It did, but again, you're talking about an extremely seasoned director doing that. In this case, the middle story just wasn't fun. It wasn't scary, it wasn't funny, it just wasn't any good. So then we end up with the final story. Now here is where I think the director hit a home run. The final story is eerie, it's creepy, it's well acted, it ties directly into the wraparound and brings us full circle and gives us an ending to the film as a whole. Now, a little bit you're going to complain, oh, it didn't make any sense, which is true. There are some flubs, especially in the timeline, but I like how he tied all that around and gave us a good conclusion. The final scene of the movie earns a whole 1 bonus point because anytime you give me that in a movie, I'm always happy. So you gotta watch the movie to see what scene I'm talking about. I enjoyed the movie. I think it's a fun watch. I think you'll dig it. If you like horror movies, keep in mind this is ultra low budget, but it's a fun flick. I think it did the anthology thing fairly well. Keep in mind you kind of slug through the middle one to get to the end, but it's worth it. So, as a whole, I will give All Hallows Eve a 6.5 out of 10. A fun watch, good gore, decent scares, nice atmosphere. So, why don't you check it out? And we'll see you here next time at Movie Mayhem.